Hey guys, what's good? Welcome to Triple J Boxing. And today I want to talk about Terence Crawford versus Jermell Charlo. Making sure I got the right brother. Yeah, Jermell. The one that's fighting Canelo coming up at 168. So he's. I didn't know he was jumping up actually 2 weight classes. I thought it was going to be like 160 or catch weight. I guess I didn't. I guess it would make sense that it'd be 168 since Canelo hasn't fought at 160 in quite a while. I don't know why I didn't think it was going to be 168, but I guess yeah, since Canelo hasn't been at 160 for a while, it makes sense. So that's pretty good step up though. You got to give Jermell respect for making that jump, but I want to talk about more about. We'll get to that fight in another video, the Jermell versus Canelo. I want to talk about Terence Crawford versus Charlo. So they've been talking shit ever. I don't know, a couple of years now. I think they've been talking shit. We all know Charlo's good friends with Spence. What is it? Same trainer, right? As well. And he always was talking shit about Terence Crawford, and he always went with obviously Spence to beat Crawford, and now that Crawford beat his buddy Spence, this fight just got a lot interesting, right? Because if you can beat Spence like that, people give him a very good shot. He'll be the favorite actually now to beat Charlo, depending on how he looks against Canelo, right? We have to wait for that as well. But at this point in time, Crawford would be the favorite if they fought tomorrow. And that always wasn't the case because even if he beat Spence, Crawford beat Spence, but it was close, some people would say Charlo could still beat him. But the way he beat Spence, people think that Crawford will easily beat Charlo. Some people did think, though, that Spence would be the tougher fight than Charlo, but now, like, the tables completely have turned. Pretty much everyone's on board saying that I would think everyone would be on board that Crawford would beat Charlo and he would be a decent favorite going into the fight. Maybe not huge odds since Charlo is bigger than Spence too, and he's bigger than Crawford. It would be, in that sense, it would be more of a challenge because you would assume he'd be a bit stronger than Spence, but who knows, right? They weren't that much different in height and size, I do not think, because Jermell has been fighting at 154 for quite a while. He unified there against, was it Castano, I think, right? All the belts. What is he? Okay, he's considerably taller than Spence, actually. I didn't know that. Yeah, so he's a couple inches taller. He's 6 feet. I think Spence is like, what is he, like 5'9" or something? 5'10" at most. Okay, so he does definitely have the bigger body, the bigger frame. He's a bit taller. Around the same weight, though. Pretty much. Only one weight class difference, really. 147 to 154. And Spence, we all know, is having trouble now making 147. So they're pretty much identical there. But, yeah, so who do you think would win this fight, guys, if it was going to be Crawford versus Jermell? Who would win this fight? I don't know your guys' opinion. Am I wrong to thinking that everyone thinks that Crawford would beat him? It's weird because when it comes to Charlo, I'm not like the expert on Charlo because it's weird because I never really followed him that much. Like, I've seen him fight, but to be honest, I forget how he fights sometimes. Like, I know he can take his time. Like, he's a good boxer, and he can set up the punches and stuff. But I don't like. I've never really followed him as much as other guys. Like, he kind of reached undisputed pretty quietly, in my opinion, because like for some reason when a Charlo fight was coming up, I never got like really excited for it. Maybe because of style. Maybe I really don't know. Like, they didn't it was never on my radar like, oh, Charlo's fighting, I gotta watch this. Like, it was never like that. And I know they promoted him decently, like everyone knows him, but it kind of, I looked at his record and I kind of thought, like, why don't I really remember him fighting that much, or I didn't really care. And he hasn't fought at least three times in a year. He hasn't fought three times in a year since 2014. He's only fought two times a year or one time a year since then. So that kind of makes sense why you really don't see him that much, right? And the guys he fought, like a Tony Harrison, who he had good fights with, the Brian Castano. These guys aren't really like big names in my opinion. Like when you talk to people like Tony Harrison's fighting, they're like, okay. Like Castano's fighting, okay. Like these aren't really, so he kind of did reach undisputed quietly in my opinion. Like just because, I'm not saying these guys he fought aren't good, but like it's just it's not like not very well known, like not well known, but not really like enticing opponents he's fighting. You know what I'm saying? Like just not really well known opponents in my opinion. But from what I remember, like I've seen him fight, like I said, but like I haven't seen him probably fight. I don't even know if I've seen the last Castano fight, to be honest. I think I've seen maybe the first one, but it's been so long ago, right? It's been a couple years since that fight, so he's only fought two times since 2020. So I do remember though, I correct me if I'm wrong, guys, when he fought Tony Harrison the first time, did you guys think he won that fight? Because for some reason, I could be mixing up the fights, but I think that he won. In my opinion, I thought Jermell won that fight, but I could be thinking about a different fight. But I don't think so though, because that's his only loss, right? Yeah, so I think for some reason I remember this fight was in 2018, so it's been a while. I've only seen it once, but for some reason in my head, I remember both brothers fought that night, and I thought that that he beat Harrison in the first fight, but they robbed him and they gave they gave Harrison, and then the opposite. So yeah, this was 2018, December 22, and his brother Jermall fought that night as well against who was it against? Against Matvey Korobov on the same night. And I could have swore, guys, that guy actually deserved to win the fight and not like the other way around. Like that's what I remembered. I think it's those fights where I thought that he beat Harrison and he got robbed, and then I thought it was the opposite where Korobov should have got the win. Like it should have actually been Jermall that got the loss that night, not Jermell. But that's what I remember. I could be wrong, guys, but yeah. So Jermell is obviously a good fighter. He's unified. Only lost once, and he did avenge that. Like I said, even if you thought he lost the first fight, he avenged it by knocking out Tony Harrison in the 11th round, sorry. And yeah, now he's fighting Canelo. And I know they have him probably as a heavy underdog because he's coming up from 154. But I don't know. Canelo hasn't looked that great lately, to be honest. And people might be overlooking Charlo, right? Like I know from what I remember, since like I said, Charlo don't fight that much. So I'm not like an expert on like, because I can't really remember. But from what I remember, his style is kind of like not too aggressive, kind of plays it safe, but he does everything well. Nothing extraordinary, though. That's what I remember about him. Kind of like an Andre Ward, right? Nothing like really extraordinary, but does everything well kind of thing. Not saying he's like an Andre Ward. Like I'm not comparing him. Like obviously Andre Ward's known as one of the best fighters in the last couple of years, but like I think that's what I remember about him. like I said, and I missed I missed the rematch with Castano, so I can't really say. I think I might have seen the highlights, but it's been so long ago. I might have seen it. I don't know. I forget now. It's been a while, but yeah. So people might be overlooking him here. Oh yeah, I'm going kind of off topic because I was supposed to talk about Terence Crawford, but anyway, yeah. So people might be overlooking though Charlo against Canelo. He might do better than you think. He might win the fight. Who knows? But what do you how do you guys think that fight will go if it happens? If Terence Crawford fights Charlo next, do you think that do you think Charlo has a chance? Do you think Bud can dominate like he has the welterweight division if it happens at like a 160 or 154? I don't know what weight it would be at. Yeah, but I think they were saying 154. I could be wrong though. It would be no more than 160. I can't see that though. But yeah, Crawford's the kind of guy he'll fight you at any division. So, but yeah. So depending on how this fight goes with Canelo, I think that will kind of speak volumes about people's opinions will change after that fight. If he does well against Canelo or he wins, I think that people are going to more think it's going to be a 50-50 fight, right? I still think they would favor Crawford unless he did something special against Canelo and like knocked him out or something, which is possible, but Crawford's a different guy, especially right now. I don't know. I think Crawford's better than Canelo, but obviously you got to give them the size and the strength advantage. So if Charlo could really do damage to a guy like Canelo, you got to expect that Crawford is gonna have a tough fight as well. But Crawford's got that skills and that distance and that he just knows how to navigate the ring so well and the timing that it's just like you can't just be strong and powerful. That won't be enough to beat Crawford, you know what I mean? But I do think though, if Charlo can beat Canelo and he beats him good, that he will sway a lot of people's opinions. But I would probably still have to favor Crawford in beating Charlo. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Obviously, if he does bad against Canelo, people will still want to see the fight. It's kind of a win-win because they'll still want to see it because Crawford's smaller. But depending on how he loses, his odds of winning and the betting odds will probably stay the same with the Crawford fight or maybe go down. People might favor Crawford even more if he gets like really beat up by Canelo. So yeah, I just think that from what I've seen from Charlo, I can't really say like that. Like I would have to favor Crawford because I've seen way more of him and he does it spectacularly when he wins. And then Charlo, on the other hand, from what I've seen of him, he does everything good, but it's nothing like special, right? Nothing like spectacular. But you can't overlook those guys. Like I said, and Andre Ward never looked crazy spectacular in his wins, but he gets the job done. So that's why I'm saying you can't count him out against Canelo, and Canelo is declining. He hasn't looked good in the Triple G third fight. Bivol though was a little too much. He bit off a little more than he could chew in that fight. I knew Bivol was going to beat him in that fight. I put money down on that fight. Been watching my boy Bivol since the HBO days. So I kind of knew that yeah, my dog's there. I'm just petting my dog. If you kind of guys are wondering what am I doing. But I kind of knew Bivol was going to beat him, so I don't discredit Canelo for declining in that fight. Bivol was just too good. I give more credit to Bivol for being good and not Canelo declining. But in the Triple G fight, that kind of made me wonder why didn't he look that good in that fight. I thought he was going to do better than he did. I know he had that surgery after the fight. He said he needed it done. What was his shoulder or his elbow? I forget what it was, but Canelo had some kind of surgery after the fight that he needed to get done, and so he's saying maybe that had something to do with his performance in that fight and the Bivol fight, I think. But yeah, so I give Charlo a chance, but Terence Crawford's just a whole different beast. Like I said, Canelo's stronger than Crawford, but Crawford has more skills, the timing and the distance and just everything. Everything else is better than Canelo and Crawford, except maybe the strength and the size. But Crawford's pretty strong though for his size. He's deceiving. He's skinny. We all know those guys that are skinny. When we went to school with them, they're skinny, but there's like just got raw power, and that's pretty much him. But you would have to say the strength and the size advantage would be the only thing you would give Canelo over a Crawford. So yeah, I would still think Crawford would be the tougher fight for Charlo, and Charlo can beat Canelo maybe, but I don't see him beating Crawford. But yeah, we'll see what happens though in the September 30th, how Charlo does against Canelo. And we'll see what Crawford does in the meantime, if he fights somebody. Haven't heard anything really. Yeah, it's just we got to see what happens in the Canelo fight, and then we'll kind of go from there. But let me know what you guys think about that fight. Who do you favor? And oh yeah, I want to bring up one more thing. Terence Crawford posted an IG post of him holding like a massive fish that's like pretty much just the length of his body almost, saying that caught the big fish, now I'm hunting the little cub. Because you know how the Charlo brothers, don't they have like a saying, lions only? So yeah, now he's hunting the little cub at Twin Charlo, and then he has like a fishing and a little lion emoji. So yeah, he's serious about going after Charlo. So yeah, should be good. Yeah, but yeah, guys, thanks for watching, and let me know your thoughts on the two fights, on the Canelo one. I'll talk about more of that in another video. I might have got a little bit off topic. I wanted to talk more about the Crawford Charlo, but yeah, I'll go more in depth later in other videos. But I do think that Charlo will give more of problems than Canelo than people think, and I think that Crawford at this stage will beat Charlo. So as of today. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. It's Triple J Boxing. Take care.